Thank you so much, and thank you for having us today afternoon. So the topic for our conversation is enhancing passenger experience through digital transformation. And we have two brilliant use cases amongst us. We have Siddharth from Digi Yatra Foundation. So I don't know how many of you use Digi Yatra, but it basically enhances convenience for all travelers at the airport when you're checking in and entering the airport. And of course, we have Sanjeev from Blue Smart, who is basically the new kid on the block when it comes to cab aggregators. And they are not technically aggregators because they own the cab and they license, like lease the cabs, but take it on lease. But I mean, on my personal experience, I think it's been fantastic, and I'm a very active Blue Smart user myself. We have examples in the airways and the roadways. We were just watching panelists from the railways in the last panel. The idea is how technology is enhancing user convenience. When we talk about digital transformation, basically digital technology helping plug the gaps, making it easier, far more faster for users, customers to be able to reach from point A to point B, be it the ability to book cabs online or to use an application to be able to go through the airport faster or check in faster. So I want to start with you, Siddharth, first. And Digi Yatra has been, I think, quite a revelation for a lot of passengers and frequent flyers, especially Bombay, Delhi, Bangalore. I think these are the three busiest locations, I believe, when it comes to the need and use of these applications. And your application is, of course, self-sovereign identification, and especially important for large airports, right? I think that's where the convenience comes in, because anybody who travels from T3 in the morning or in the night or in the evening will see that all the gates have lines which will take at least half an hour of entry point, right? And half an hour means a lot for businesses. You can miss a meeting in half an hour. I mean, if you reach late, then you'll end up at the last of the queue. So by the time you're checking in, even if you don't have your bag, I mean, if you don't have a check-in bag, even then you will find it very hard. So tell us a little bit, Siddharth, in terms of how have you seen the feedback of your application and Digi Yatra itself in your personal experience, in your professional experience, how you have seen the impact with respect to the users.
So thank you, Kazim, and thanks everyone for being here. So coming back to the same question, how many of you are DigiYatra users? Okay, great. So and how many of you actually know that DigiYatra doesn't store any data? Great. Few hands were down, so maybe yeah, that's where I want to start with before I come to the convenience and the problem statement which we are solving. So it's a privacy by design solution wherein there is no data which is stored centrally in any of the servers. The data which you share with the airport is also deleted by the airports within 24 hours of your flight departure. So it can, as of now, cannot get safer than that within the ecosystem which we have. So coming back to your question, so the testament to the fact that whether it's solving the problem or what passengers are saying about it, in last 2 years there have been 9 million downloads of the app, which and has been used 40 million times across all the 24 enabled airports in India. So and these 9 million users, we don't know any one of them personally, right? So and there has been stories on social and people have been sharing with us that from taxi to the boarding gate in less than 5 minutes if you don't have a backdrop. So obviously, so this has solved the problem, big problem of queue and other things. And it looks small if you look at it at an individual scale. However, if you look at that, air travel is not going to stop. It is going to grow while you can't grow the infrastructure at the airports, right? So you have to work out for solutions which are increasing the throughputs and making passengers move faster from that one touch point to the other touch points, right? And making it easier as well. So that was the thought process when we started off. Like, how do you give a walk in the park kind of an experience to a passenger that passenger keeps walking and reaches the boarding gate? And that is what we have achieved with DigiYatra. And The reason these many downloads and these many usage is simply because it's solving the real problem, and in a manner wherein technology is hidden from the end user. There is a lot of tech that has gone behind it. It was not easy to design a solution which is privacy first, because it's easy to store data and do things these days. However, when we started off, this was the core design principle, that we will not store anything and still do an intervention in the user journey. How can we make it meaningful without data? So, yeah.
Yeah, fantastic. And so you're not monetizing any data. I mean,
So,
you don't even know who your customers are.
no, there is no monetization involved here, and we started off with a campaign also, because many people were not aware about it, and I would want to showcase that.
Please do.
Good you asked that question. So this is what we call don't know your customer. So hash DKYC is what the term we have coined, because we actually don't know our customers. The moment you do your Aadhaar registration is the first touch point where you interact with the system, and something which is created and stored on your phone is called a VC, verified credential, and that is stored decentralized on each and every user's phone. There is no storage of this centrally anywhere. Then the next touch point in the user journey comes when you share the data with the airport. That is the time when you scan your QR code on the boarding pass. We don't rely on the data printed on the boarding pass. We rely on the data which is in the QR code, because boarding passes can be tempered. One of the problem which we were solving, other than convenience, was that the physical boarding passes can be tampered with. Aadhaar can be tampered with. If you're showing it to a security guy, he will not know whether this is a real Aadhaar or not. However, if a registration has happened with the OTP-based authentication in Digi Yatra, it is verified with Aadhaar, and also the boarding pass is, the QR code is the source of the information to share it with the airport. There is QRs can be tempered, but it's difficult to temper the QR code on the boarding pass. And this QR code data is real-time validated when you are at the airport with the airline systems, to ensure that you are the person who has a flight today based on the data in the QR code. And your face is validated, which you share with the airport. So the next touch point is when you share it with the airport. At that time also, DigiYatra doesn't store anything. It's like a pipe which is connecting all the verifier airports where you get verified. And they store it locally for 24 hours. And once the flight is taken off, it is purged. Today, we validate this with certain empaneled auditors. We have audited all the airports and ensured there are automated scripts which are deleting this data. We are working on a tech in future wherein user will also come to know that the data has been purged at the airport. You will get a trigger, and that boarding pass will say invalidated. So that there is more trust back to the user as well, that yes, what we are saying is happening. So
Yeah, I think in the journey, as we take this privacy journey, data protection journey, I think it'd be great to see that users are informed that the data
yeah,
is actually deleted, and you're already in compliance with the act itself and privacy first application. So great to know that, Siddharth.
thank you.
Sanjeev, I want to come to you, and we were discussing how DigiYatra, does this great job of easing access to airports for passengers, and your application. I mean, you work with Gensol, Blue Smart, if I may, use it interchangeably over here, and you, as online services, cab online services, are also transforming, for passengers who are using Blue Smart. I mean, it's a different business model. But how do you see this for roadways, for the cab ecosystem, the impact which you guys have done, even your predecessors have done? And what's your experience been, and what is the journey we will take in the next 5 years?
So, so I think next 5 years is definitely EV, what we are building right now with Blue Smart or Gensol Group. Basically, in the Gensol EV, what we are manufacturing our own vehicle, which is primarily EV, and then the new is addition of data and AI driven. So the facilities that we are planning to provide passengers, definitely upfront the cost is, because nowadays, I mean, definitely if you are traveling with a cab and all, so it's maybe 2 to 4 rupees if you are traveling with CNG, or 8 to 10 rupees if you are traveling with some petrol cab and all. So this, it's a micro mobility car that we are manufacturing right now, which is already in Europe and maybe in Southeast Asia countries. So with the help of this vehicle, it will be cost around 60 to 80 paisa per kilometer, sort of these things. So the upfront, so the upfront thing that we are solving the cost problem for our, Indian consumer, especially those who are traveling alone, because as Blue Smart, our own company, 90% jantas are traveling alone, majorly from the airport to their home or office, and then office to home. So
You
that
have
is,
that data, Sanjeev?
sorry?
Do you have that data of
Uh,
1%, 2% per
Definitely,
car?
we don't have, that much, but yes, the approximate these things as well. Similarly, we don't, again, really appreciating the way Siddharth explained the DPDP policy that they don't have. I mean, this is again new for me that they don't have any infra to store the data or repository to store the data. And this 15 or 20 minutes era without knowing your customer running business is very tough.
Thank
As
you.
per my understanding, is very, very tough. If you don't know who is your customer, what is the age of your customer, what is the city of your customer, it's very difficult to run the business.
So if I may, so see, that's what we are trying to tell, that we don't need to know personally, and still we can do meaningful interventions,
Correct.
right? So personalization, there is a lot of focus on personalization, analytics, and everything, right? But still, the user journeys and the day-to-day users, what they're doing, there is, if you are solving that problem, I don't think so anyone wants that level of personalization in all the services. There are services where it is required,
Correct, correct.
but not all. So meaningfully, if we have to see, and then that's the term we want to call out again here, meaningful interventions rather than any intervention. So yeah, touching upon that point, our architecture in the background for the techies, if there are techies, it's completely serverless. There is no database or a storage which we have procured anywhere on the cloud. It's only for the configurations which we have. So because we don't need it. So by design, when we started off, we started off with the fact that which data do we need. You would notice that when you are fetching your data from Aadhaar, we don't fetch your address. Because in your use case, people who have used Digi Yatra, the address is not there. And the Aadhaar number is also masked. We don't fetch full Aadhaar in Digi Yatra. Because we don't need full Aadhaar, we don't need address. So what we don't need, we don't want to take.
That is already done through Aadhaar because that authentication is done. So
Yeah, that authentication is done. We only need to. So, what is the purpose of taking your name? Is the purpose there? Because we would need to match your name on the boarding pass name. We need to know your age, so we are taking your date of birth. We need to match your gender, so gender is taken from Aadhaar. But Aadhaar number, I don't want to know to get
Right.
you through the touch point. So, sorry to.
Yeah, so the same thing that is, definitely we don't have exact data, but yes, most of the 90% are consumers are traveling alone. That is why the pictures come into into the business, that this micro mobility car is especially for single passenger, where the primarily focus is the cost and then the range as well, because and then the other one is the fast charging. The fast charging is again coming to integration of data and AI, which is again because, if you're traveling from Aerocity to Gurgaon, you have to route in a way that the charging port should be there. So that is also we are capturing in our system while driving this car, or that car is capturing some sort of route and all. And then we have a small camera fitting in front of the car, which can also identify, and the ping is capturing to understand the pathos and all these things, because if majorly people from Gurgaon, then you can understand the condition of the road during rainy season and all these things. So these kind of things that we are planning to capture in our new car that we are manufacturing, and it is in Expo only. Right now we are showcasing in the Expo 17 to 22 in the Pragati Maidan only. So these kind of facilities we are capturing, integrating in our own car, and facilitating to our passengers so that they can ride, hassle-free drive, and free of mind, feel free like any range issues, driving issues, path holes issues, or again the component as well, because nowadays EV car, when they are marrying with the software, they are more driven by the software things. So let's say, I mean, automatically your AC conditions will be settled according to the climate or weather as well. If your battery health is not good, they are starting setting or sending you some sort of in-app notification or any sort of alert, so that your battery is getting heat or your battery SOH, which is state of health, is not good. I mean, maybe you can talk to your services, or maybe at the same time the alert will send to the at the back end side to the service as well, which also help us to manage the supply chain of the at the back end of the manufacturing things. So these kind of things that we are planning to facilitate our customer in the future.
So
And
a lot of it is operational, if you notice. It's
yeah,
not personal. So
yeah.
yeah, operational is something which we should do, and which is good. Yeah.
Correct, correct. And on the data side, the address definitely we have to store. So without
Please,
address,
Yeah, that's a
please store my
regulation. That's a
address.
yeah,
regulation.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So
No, I want to give you my address also, Sanjeev. I mean,
so
this is,
without address,
yeah,
definitely we cannot, I mean,
yeah.
we cannot empower our customers and not even recommend the best ride and all these things to our customer as well.
I
So yeah.
must clarify that a lot of us think that privacy means no data sharing. That's not what privacy is. Okay. Privacy means control on your data. These are two different things. That you are able to decide who is accessing your data, you know why your data is being accessed, and you can decide if you want to give it or not. Privacy is not that you don't want to share data, and I think this is unfortunately this narrative has also been driven quite extensively that, oh, privacy is, oh, don't share your data, why is this data being accessed, something will go wrong. No, privacy is about sharing data with you having control on your data. That is where I think a lot of the battles have been fought. I think the whole DPDP debate has also gone in that direction, that we need to activate digital services. And for that, personal data has to be shared. I mean, I am a privacy advocate, but I use application which tracks my blood pressure and sugar levels and my blood oxygen, etc. Because I want to see what's my my fitness score is. But I have control over that data or not. That is where privacy comes into play. And applications and business providers have to allow citizens to be able to control their data and their processing and how it's processed, and they should be aware of. So this is something which I want to bring about. But Sanjeev, I think great point on the fact that you're also revolutionizing the cab service, or digital cab service. I mean, we've seen this in the last 10 years. We've had Ola, Uber. People are using those cab service aggregators. Basically, that's a different model where the drivers own the cabs, and they then basically decide which app they want to use, and then they are basically owning the cabs, and they will get the riders, and the riders will use the service. This is a different model.
Yeah, we have full-fledged ecosystem,
Ecosystem, and which,
where, yeah.
at least personally, I believe brings more accountability. And in my experience, I've seen that cabs are cleaner, and cabs are also safer. Again, I can vouch, and this is not a plug for Blue Smart at all, but I can confidently have my partner, my girlfriend, she can go home at 2 a.m. in the night in a Blue Smart, and I can be safe, and I can
Because
be peaceful
as
about
I
it.
said, the whole ecosystems, like
Yes.
our drivers are own, now the
Yes.
cars are
That,
own, the batteries are own,
yes.
everything
That
that
peace
the
of mind I have not got otherwise. I would love to get it otherwise as well. But I think this is something which Blue Smart does very well, because you pay drivers a salary and an incentive. So which is and you of course lease all the cabs from an agency.
we have leasing company
Yes,
itself as well.
exactly. And I think this business model is going to pick up. You're already picking up in different jurisdictions. I mean, Dubai and in India, in different
We
cities.
recently launched in Mumbai as well.
Correct, correct, correct. Which is fantastic. So I think great example. Again, very recent startup, not more than 3 years, I believe. I've only been using it for a year and a half, and I must say that I have not been. There's no need for me to go back to any other application. So really fantastic. Siddharth, I want to come back to you in terms of also the way India is developing tech, I mean, we have two brilliant use cases over here. And we have a lot to learn, but we have a lot to teach to the world as well, right? Internationally, if you travel, I have not seen something like a Digi Yatra where you just quickly, seamlessly move in through airports, right? And definitely not an out-and-out EV service like how Blue Smart does. So for somebody like you who's built this, and these are all very recent innovations. I mean, post-COVID innovations, both are, right? Both are post-COVID. And although it's been 5 years to COVID, it feels like yesterday. So where is the next innovation going to come? When it comes to passengers being seamlessly ported from one place to the other, where is the next innovation? EV is definitely the innovation. And it's great to see that I'm always given account of how much carbon dioxide I'm saving, which is good. I hope that's authentic information. Yeah, great. Awesome. So where is the next innovation going to come for airports, passenger service being eased?
So a lot of work is happening here itself, within Digiyatra itself. We see there is a lot of work to be done yet. We have only solved it for domestic passengers. We still have to solve it for international use case. That is still pending. So, and more touch points have to be added within the Digiyatra ecosystem. We say there is, backdrop is still not into the fold, right? Boarding gate, I'll be upfront, boarding gate adoption is not yet taken up, gone anywhere. So boarding gate adoption is what we are working on. It's not an innovation, but within the same ecosystem, which there are still things to be plugged. When we talk about innovation, so innovation within this ecosystem is more going to happen not on the tech side, but at least on the process side. Now, these things are not getting enabled because of this ecosystem which we are part of. There are a lot of, in an airport ecosystem, there are systems which have been running for ages. It was not easy to have this flow itself for domestic traveler, because if you talk about stakeholders, there are almost 10 stakeholders within this ecosystem which were to be aligned to take that passenger from one touch point to the other touch point. Now these systems are still running on the older, they don't know API communication yet. These systems which are in the airport, so there are some terminologies which in aviation, if you're there, you will know cute cups, the cute terminals, the common use technology. So they don't talk on APIs. So a lot of work has to happen there itself, even if we go anywhere else. So because now itself you see the simple thing like people ask for it on the Digiyatra app. I want to give it, but it's not happening. Is that standard time of departure of the flight is not available, right? STD or the boarding pass is there, but the time is not there. Terminal is not there. The flight ETD is not there. Now, as an end consumer, people will want these functionalities, and there is no harm. No, we don't have to know the customer. We don't have to know the customer for. We only need to know the flight number. The problem is the back-end ecosystem is the stakeholders in the ecosystem. They have to talk through APIs to each other seamlessly to able. So there is this validation has to happen from airline system. Airline system today is talking to Digiyatra, but in a very restricted manner through airport in between. There is no indirect interaction. So biggest innovation will happen here.
Can you have a bot which connects all the APIs?
See, technically everything is possible. That's where I'm saying.
But airlines don't have that much of infra good, and they are running as a traditional business kind of things. That is the major blocker for them.
On the hosting side, the challenge is infra when it comes to data being hosted.
Airline side, every problem is from airline.
So infra is also one of the thing. It can be one of the thing. The first challenge is the intent, right? So we have to agree to collaborate in these forms and be ready to exchange data digitally because it's not PII, right? So, but boarding pass is not a PII, but everybody has, even the international airlines, everyone makes it a global statement saying it's a PII sharing, GDPR will come into picture. So those dialogues have to happen, and these people have to understand that what are we sharing, what are we talking about, and that's not a tech innovation. Tech all exists. Tech is all there.
They are claiming that boarding pass is PII.
Boarding pass is PII, but so PII, it is not a PII, but if you combine it together and you combine with various other data points, it can become a PII. But what is required is a meaningful dialogue, and to say, yeah, this is where this can be shared, this cannot be shared. This is the minimum information required to enable this use case. A simple scenario is none of you would have realized, or maybe if you would have realized, when you travel international, boarding pass is not there with you. Web check-in is not there, right? India is the only, yeah, so India has not digitized it. It is not available. Few airlines have started doing it. International travel, there are process-related gaps which are there in the system which needs to improve to enable that. Why? Because it's an airline's responsibility to ensure that the passenger who is traveling will not be deported back, right? So airline will insist you to come to the counter and look into your boarding pass and then look into your ticket and then issue the boarding pass. Even if it is issued, you will still have to go to the counter.
Right.
Now, explaining all this to the end consumer is very difficult, right?
I see.
But these challenges have to be navigated. That is where the innovation is required, and the innovation is not a tech innovation. We need innovation in rethinking the processes.
Definitely, intent is the
Yeah.
main thing when you're developing something or innovate something. So
Correct.
So Sanjeev, in your case, where is, I mean, as it is, you've already, I think, created a new level in terms of getting the EVs out on the road in great capacity. So much so that your competitors are now also, getting it. We've seen Uber Green. I don't know if people have seen it. It's a very bad copy of Blue Smart's cab also, because they have those tattoos, which I like the color combination, by the way, Blue Smart as well. So is EV going to stick here, or are you also looking at, battery powered, of course, but just battery powered or hybrid, or are you exploring,
So, as I said, the ecosystem is already in the
I mean,
Gensol.
we're not in the hydrogen age yet.
But
So
so Gensol is bringing all these together, like solar, this battery,
Right.
renewal of battery,
solar panels on top of cars which can charge it.
yeah. I mean,
Are you guys looking at that?
so in Pune, the manufacturing plant already have a solar panel. So this is how we are again saving that CO2 emission and all these things. So we already have in plan this solar, and then the battery manufacturing as well. This is also in the future plan where definitely battery manufacturing means we can assemble the cells. So in battery we have a multiple cells. So let's say if a battery have 25 cells, then if SOH is degrading, then only couple of the cells are not working, rest of the cells are working. So you can change that particular cells and reuse the battery again. So these kind of innovation definitely we are planning on this renewable energy side, and on the tech side definitely DPDP is again our focus when we are planning for the next raise, or maybe for the next future. So let's say, a small example just coming back in the mind, like if someone as a consumer calling to the driver, then driver are not able to see the consumer's phone number or mobile number or name and all these things. So these kind of, again, the account number and all these things are masking.
I have observed this, that when you call the driver, there is a 080 code, which is a Bangalore code.
Correct.
So I have never been able to do that. Like I call a driver directly. Sometimes the driver say, okay, take my number and you call. But again, in other business models or in other in companies, you can actually collect the driver's number and call. Which I feel is a privacy issue for the driver.
Yeah, so again, this is also, see, as DPDP's compliance coming into the picture, India is, as UPI is coming to picture, and ULI also. So India is trying to catch the European country in the data privacy sort of these things, because as in Europe, the data privacy is a very, very important part of the.
And if you have to access European markets, of course.
Agree. So this is how India and then the government is planning. So so every flow, as Siddharth also mentioned, intent wise, we as an Indian, we are going tech very fast. That is where, definitely if you are going very fast, so, maybe there may be a couple of the pointers we can left. But yes, on the privacy side, on the data compliance side, we are also covering lots of things day by day or year by year. That is why we are having this kind of discussions, and few companies have made this compliance, and few are on the road to do these things.
So final round, Siddharth, on DPDP itself, and this is something which we were discussing. So DPDP will force you to collect more data. Is that true?
So DPDPA will force us to collect more data. Initial analysis of ours says yes, because if the consent is to be maintained at that granular level, wherein I have to go back and tell how many times Kazim traveled through which airport. So today I don't, I'm not able to do that, but and that can be one thing. Other thing which we are looking at is the consent. If consent management is going to be an independent organization who will maintain all this on behalf of other entities, then I'm taking this out of my ecosystem, and then so there can be possibilities which we will have to, we are in touch with the right authorities to be able to navigate that. How do we navigate? Right. But otherwise, yes, we are on track with whatever granular consent is required. We in fact handle minor consent to a large level in our app. You cannot register or a minor cannot register on Digi Yatra app unless or until an adult registration is available on the phone. So we, in a way,
already parental consent is collected.
To some extent, yes. We are,
right.
So
how do you verify that though?
Again, so that's where I want to understand whether it's a parental or a guardian. So nobody is clearly telling us that. If it's parental, then digitally there is no way you can do it. There is no system in India today, at least,
to verify the consent?
To verify that it's a parent. We tried use cases with Aadhaar, but then obviously it has limitations. Not everyone has given father's name or parent's name on the Aadhaar card, right? So we are saying it has to be done digitally, but where is the digital database which tells me the parent-child relationship? So guardian birth certificate is not digitally available for everyone. Even DigiLocker has a restriction up to certain years, right? So we have tried all of that, and whatever best we could have done, we have done. So what we do is guardianship it's not parentship, obviously. And the way we authenticate is that the user should have a registration already done on the same app, adult registration. Yeah. So there is only one adult profile which can be created on Digi Yatra. You can't create two. So that adult profile will consent on behalf of minor. So when the second consent which we take, when a minor tries to register, because the second will always be minor on the app.
Right.
So we say that I, Siddharth Sharma, is consenting on behalf of this, and I'm the guardian.
And the minor has to, of course, endorse and say that, yeah, this is my parent.
So minor cannot register without that.
So explain the interface. So I go on an app, I'm a 16-year-old.
Yeah, you will not be able to register.
Okay, so what will it ask for?
It will ask a guardian should create a profile on the phone first.
For me? For the minor?
For the guardian.
So guardian has an application on the phone?
Guardian has an application on their phone. If a minor is trying to do on their phone, the guardian can register on their phone. But if a minor has a phone and they want that they can create a profile on there, the guardian will have to create a profile on the minor phone also. As I explained earlier, Digi Yatra is a decentralized system. There is no way centrally I'm maintaining who all have registered on Digi Yatra.
Okay.
A guardian will be able to create a profile on the other phone and authenticate himself using Digi Yatra.
And then the minor
can do that. So in a way we did what I think the DPDP is trying to
already done.
Advocate. So we have done to that extent. But to establish whether he's a guardian or a parent, I don't have a digital system.
I mean, this is the closest you can come
because
guardian is there and then the minor is registering and the guardian is also registering for him. But maybe the guardian and the minor have some collaboration and say, you just register me.
So we get
that you can't verify.
Yeah, we can't verify, and we get emails from minors because that is again between the use cases. This is again one thing which DPDP will have to think through. You are a minor as per UIDI age, right? Or Aadhaar age, 18.
Yes.
But a minor can travel without parent if he's above 10 or 11. Right? Yeah. They can travel.
Yeah. And by the way, I was 9 years old when I took my first solo flight.
So coming to that. So there is a threshold set by the aviation ecosystem.
There was a threshold.
This aviation ecosystem threshold is different from the So now the miners
Interesting
write
point.
to us,
Yes.
if I want to travel without Digi Yatra, I can, but with Digi Yatra, I cannot. And I
Correct,
don't want to
correct.
tell my parents where am I going. So allow me to register on the app. So,
That's quite an interesting point.
yeah. So these are the use cases which
that's a quite
we need to
interesting
think
point.
through.
Siddharth, sorry, Sanjeev, what's the compliance-wise? I think you just spoke about DPDP,
Yeah.
but any challenges you're facing, or I think you're good to comply.
So I think challenges again, the phone number is especially, let's say if some consumers are facing any challenge while riding and all these things, maybe some issues while traveling, then we don't have phone number to directly connect with our consumers. The other compliance that the 60 speed of a kilometer while driving on the highway and all these things. So lots of complaints we have that why you're not increasing the speed and all these things
Right,
limit,
right.
because we have a compliance that driver cannot drive like
Right.
more
So,
than.
question to you
Yeah.
also, Sanjeev. Do minors use Blue Smart?
Again, we don't have a specific age.
But I'm sure they must be, right? I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah.
15, 16-year-olds.
Yeah.
Now, with parental consent, you will again have issues because
We
they will be
don't.
consenting on. Parents have to consent for their children to take up a ride.
No, I don't know. I mean, because we are not capturing the profile is not because I think
You don't
DG.
collect age as far as
Yeah,
I'm concerned.
definitely. I mean,
Yeah.
there is no need of age because there is no need of Aadhaar card and all these
So
things.
that's where DigiYatra can help all of these ecosystems to do it in a privacy preserving manner. If you want age,
You can actually be a good VPC provider, verifiable parental consent
Yes.
provider to
Yes.
all different
Yes.
fiduciaries.
You
So
got
you
it
can be a
right,
data
yeah.
processor also in that case.
So if in a use case like in a bar, you want to say that I am above 18, in a verified credential manner, you will
Correct.
only tell the verifier that I am above 18. No other information will be shared. So that's what the decentralized and SSI-based communication
But
can
it's
enable.
also business to business model.
Yeah.
Blue Smart doesn't require these kind of. I mean, I don't think so.
You might
because
now if I.
So you may now, because what if a 15-year-old is, because the definition is that parental consent is needed. So if a 15-year-old is registering your app, to collect her data, you have to consent from her parent. So that will force you to collect.
I think
age.
more or less the phone number and the
Am I
OTP.
right?
No, you are to an extent right, and that's where you would have seen if you have kids. APAR forms have come to your homes to sign, right?
Yeah.
Well in time with DPDP.
No, but-
I have not signed it yet because physically, why should I
Correct.
sign
But
it?
the new age app is only required phone number and the OTP. No need to like fulfill all your detail. I mean, if 15 minute of these kind of quick commerce or these kind of ride hailing app, you just have to enter your phone number
No,
and then the OTP.
I understand that, but I'm just trying to highlight that this could be something which, because tomorrow if a minor is using your app and if the data protection board sees that an application is catering to minors without parental consent.
See, it's very difficult. What if that minor have booked the cab with your phone number?
Fair enough.
That is also,
Fair enough.
or the parent's phone number, because we have the phone number only, and we
Yes.
can, at the end of the day, we can just verify the phone
We
number.
can only verify the phone numbers, but so
That
telecom providers,
we'll
I
have
don't
to-
think give phone numbers to juniors. I don't know if Airtel does it or Vodafone
is
does it
also-
or not.
no.
So less than 18 years of age.
Yeah.
So, but in that case, if a minor is booking a cab, then that's a
I think
very
we should
difficult.
also for this we should also rely on how does it happen today.
Correct.
Right? What does the regulation say that if a minor has to travel in the cabs? I have not seen anywhere which says that he or she has to be accompanied by a adult. Minors can travel if they are
Exactly.
allowed.
I mean,
Because
16,
because
17.
some point of time we used to thought let's have a camera within the cab because again our cab is no smoking.
You'll have
cab
to take
as
a
well.
consent then.
Consent and it's very DPDP is a win-win situation for both of the side as
Can you get a SIM if you're younger, less than 18?
No.
no
You
no,
can't
that
get a
is
SIM.
not
No,
right.
no.
But that I mean that minor can use some other's phone number or number, right?
No, that is, of course, if he's fudging with the system. But legally, technically speaking, if you cannot get a phone number less than 18, then you don't have customers less than 18, technically.
But see, getting SIM number or phone number multiple ways in India, right? I mean, there are lots of stall running on
Law
the road.
will not cater to
Yeah.
the illegal or the
But
outside
in
the.
this case, the use case will be what he's trying to highlight. If parents' phone number was used to log in into
Exactly,
the app,
exactly,
Correct,
then you
exactly.
will not know who.
Exactly. You will not know. But then the
It is
app doesn't
difficult.
know, and therefore the law should recognize that, look, it is supposed to be an adult.
But again, I'm saying we don't have data that say that this customer which ride from point A to B is
What is
minor
their
or
age?
what age.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
we don't have any data, right? We are not
Yeah, yeah,
storing.
yeah.
I mean, even we don't know if she is male, if she is female or he is
Yeah,
male.
yeah,
That is
yeah,
also we
yeah,
don't know.
yeah. I mean, what collect data points are collecting? Collecting the address,
Address,
the name,
name, and then
and the
the
number,
traveling location and all
and
these
the
things. Yeah.
traveling. 4 or 5 data points.
Bus, only that.
Most likely, the minor will have the same data points,
Correct.
apart from the name.
Correct.
Because the number could be the parents, address is the parents anyway,
Correct. Correct.
location could be different.
Correct.
So maybe 2 data points are separate.
Correct.
In which case, you could argue that, this is,
Yeah, yeah. I mean, definitely.
in most cases, it would be an adult, but even if it's a minor, is it, a minor who has been traveling from X or Y, Z location with specific data points generated or usage on the internet? I mean, the parental consent clause came for some other reasons,
Maybe.
largely because of social media. But in your case, I think definitely this is something which could be argued that if a minor is using a parent's number to book a cab, then is it really minor's data which is being collected or not? So yeah, I think that's a good question to ask. But I think great talking to you both.
Thank you.
We will not have the time to take questions because I think we'll have to end the session very soon. Yes, I already got the notification from the bosses out here. So thank you, Siddharth and Sanjeev. Great chatting.
Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much. Thank you, everyone.
We had a great pre-brief or pre-panel session as well. So it was fantastic to learn more about their use cases. And I have a flight to catch, so I have to rush. I have a Blue Smart waiting for me. And definitely will be zooming into the airport with Digi Yatra as well. But thanks a lot, both of you. And thank you, IMI, for hosting us.
Can we have a big round of applause, please? Thank you.